Cześć, witam Cię bardzo serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku z The Outer Worlds. Zostaw kciuka, subskrypcję, dzwoneczek. Mogę już Wam przerwać? To kontynuujemy. Kolejny questik.
Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
He's sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell. Would you? I'd appreciate that so much. Maybe don't tell him I wanted you to ask. Just that you met this really nice lady named Celia, and she seemed... Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Kind of like you, actually. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
Good to have standards, I guess.
I know what I'm looking for. You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny. You think that's what I'm... Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like salt tuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away. Have you talked to Sebastian? You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grimm wore her patience thin a long time ago.
Okej, w magazynie. Dobra, gdzie tu było wejście? Kwiaty dla Sebastiana, no bo faceci lubią kwiaty.
Right here. Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in a Raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails? You look like a woman who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts. Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm?
Oh, no, that's not it at all. She's smitten with you. You smited her. Smote? Smoot?
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for Raptidon tongues. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice.
Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance. Take her someplace nice.
Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
That's the spirit, Sebastian. Be yourself. Between you and me, Captain, I'm not sure Miss Celia knows him too well, but we can hope, right? I want them to be happy.
To nieźle. Dobra, idźmy jej przekazać w takim razie dobrą informację.
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia? I've secretly been waiting for this. Or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on? Not to worry. If I never buy another Raptidon tongue, it'll be too soon. Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do, and Mr. Nandi's giving me that back-to-work look. Anyhow, thank you.
Dzięki. Jeden quest mniej. Dobra, lećmy teraz tutaj.
Please, will someone help me? Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy isn't at risk of being eaten by some vile creature. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going to get himself killed. Oh, I just know a Raptidon is melting him with acid as we speak.
It's more dissolving than melting.
That is not helpful. Don't you tell me to calm down. I promised my boy I'd protect him for always. But how can I keep him safe if he's run away? He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the Raptidons, Mantisaurs, and Marauders, the toxic sulfur pools, and poisonous plants, but he didn't listen.
Oh, law, Captain. A youngster won't last long in a place like this. Please, can't we help?
Please, won't you go and find my boy? Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to fetch him home. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. I'm sure he made it that far. I just know it. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths. Tell them what I think of them luring little boys away from their mamas. It's immoral.
W ogóle pojawia się nagle jakaś osoba w grze, która potrzebuje pomocy i prosi o pomoc totalnie randomową inną osobę z innej planety, nie? Z innej galaktyki w sumie nawet, z tego co ogarniam. No a, dobra, bo to jest wyjście poza ten obszar, dobra. Tam, że ten... Dajcie, nie? Dopiero od razu, no ja to ci zaufam, wyglądasz na dobrego człowieka.
Someone's been killed! I think I'm gonna be sick. No! I just stepped in a dead man's blood. And I think one of the flies landed on my mouth. If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. That's where the body is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go contemplate a hot shower.
Aha. Pff.
Oh, sorry. Just quickly.
Not much I can do for this guy.
Co, gość co nie żyje, no i chuj, nie? Ale nie ma żadnego questa z nim związanego, więc możemy iść dalej.
Velma. Hello, dearie. Why, I don't believe I've seen you before. And with sweet cheeks like those, I'd remember.
Quite the bedside manner, lady.
Well, it's so rare I get the pleasure of new company. What can Auntie Abigail do for you?
Bless your little heart, you must mean caffeinoid. If it's pep you need, one pill does the deed.
Whiskey helps, too.
Please leave medical advice to the professionals. Now, dearie, who's this pickup for?
Don't blame me if I puke on your shoes.
Aren't you a saucy thing? I may not be a fresh young thing anymore, but with age comes experience, dearie. Much as I'd love to, my rheumatism is especially fierce at the moment, and I'm all out of my medicine. But I'd hate to send you away empty-handed. You were here for caffeinoid, weren't you? Who's it for? Oh, her. It's none of my business, but I have told her Dr. Williams would bump up her monthly allotment if only she'd join MSI. Contribute like the rest of us. Now I've gone and said too much. And you know me, dearie. I don't like to pry. I'm afraid not. Dr. Williams managed the town's allotments from his terminal upstairs. Even I can't access them. Oh, you flatter an old woman. Me, I'm just here to be a pretty face for the customers. And to keep an extra key to the supply room, for all the times Dr. Williams misplaced his. Careless experimentation with medicinal substances does take its toll, eventually.
But until then, it's lots of fun.
Episodic pharmacological delirium is no laughing matter, young lady. In the town graveyard, I'm afraid. Poor man was always searching for the flower of enlightenment. On the way, he tried some rather daring substance combinations. The graveyard's near the southern ruins. You're certainly welcome to pay our respects, but the bodies tend to attract beasties. Do be careful. I'd hate for anything to happen to you, dearie.
No i co, no nie chcę dać. Na tamtej nie mogliśmy wybrać opcji, więc bierzemy trzecią, nie?
Well, this certainly isn't worth my good health. I'll get you a dose, but I'll have you know, I'm very disappointed in you. There, and good riddance. That's the last help you're getting from Abigail Edwards.
No ja coś się będę przejmował, nie? Zatwierdź. Plakat dla Grima. Dobra, lecimy dalej. Tu jakoś przejdę? Ej, ukradłem chyba. Ty, no to tutaj coś powinno być do zebrania chyba. Aha. Miałem nadzieję na coś ciekawszego, tylko jak tam przejść? Znaczy jak tam wejść właściwie? A, tędy.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry. Well, if you're that friendly about it, then you definitely aren't one of Catherine's sublight toughs. My mistake. Hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess. I can't keep working double shifts either. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra jugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind? This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it? She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too. I don't have time for Grimm, even when I'm not working doubles. It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money. No, I paid Sublight for it, so it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money. Sure can, if you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. I got a feeling you and Catherine would get on like tumors on a pig. Take the poster then. And if I never hear another word about it, it'll be too soon. Caleb Herrick runs the autoloader operators. He thinks I don't pay them enough for flipping switches and turning dials.
So the job's easy, but you're not doing it? Something smells here. I mean, everything smells in here, but something's fishy. Wait.
He and his whole crew walked out. Say they won't come back unless I pay them more. You mind slapping him around a little while you're at it? I'm joking. Mostly. Unless you can do it without hurting his job performance. If you can find a way to get him back to work, I'll make it worth your while. Check the yacht club. He's usually there. Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. I don't have the bits for it, plain and simple. Besides, if I make an exception for him, I gotta do the same for everyone. Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work.
I'll wager she don't pay those folks that maintain the mechanicals decent neither.
Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire sublight contractors at this rate. You know, I hadn't thought of it that way. Last thing I need is Catherine mailing even farther up my ass than she already is. Fine. Tell Caleb he and his team can have their raise, but I need them back here immediately. Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get this all tuna, fat, and mostly tumor-free. Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a ground six spacer.
Jezus Maria, ile tu questów dostałem. Masakra jakaś. Typiara gadała i gadała o pierdołach. Ale tak czy siak dało się ją zastraszyć. Czekaj, bo to jest tam za tą... Gdzie byłem przed chwilą, nie? Nie, kurna, jak tam się dostać? No. Nie da się tu podskoczyć w ten sposób. Dobra. O kurwa. W okolicznych upadków z dużej wysokości nie jesteś w stanie prawidłowo funkcjonować na wysokości. Odrzuć. No to jest 14 metrów stąd, ale ja tam nie mam jak przejść. Tu zamknięte, tu zamknięte. No matko, tu były drzwi przecież. To takie wielkie, że lepiej nie mówić. Dobra. Plakat dla Grima zanieśmy. To co od niej chyba zdobyłem tutaj. Gdzie ty tu jesteś, Grim? Tu jesteś, dobra. A, bo to jest ten ziomek, kto mnie na samym początku wziął.
Have you had time to check on that poster yet? I keep wondering if it's come in. Would you look at that? The Rizzo's logo is nice and bright, and you can still smell the ink on Mr. Holcomb's signature. I can't thank you enough. Still, you can have the bits I was going to spend at the bar this week. And you know what? Take my old tossball blocker too. Never get the chance to use it these days.
Okej. Teraz tutaj na piętro.
New face, huh? You from off-world? A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Consider it an MSI welcome. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell, and revel with us?
By the smell, he's been reveling enough for you both already.
Sure thing. What did you want to discuss? How'd you manage that? Wait, never mind. If I question it, it'll turn out not to be true. Besides, I never follow how you got Velma to part ways with a bit card of her own accord. Here, take this as compensation. It ain't a lot, but I hope it shows how much we appreciate all you've done. Now me and my friends here better get back to work before Velma blows a fuse.
No, wracajcie do roboty, a nie się opierdalacie, moczy mordy. Oj,
What do you think you're doing?
misklik. Sorry.
You sure have seen a lot of the colony, huh, Dr. Fenhill?
Przypadkiem to wziąłem z rozpędu.
Ellie.
Dobra, jeszcze tu.
Sure, but most of it looks the same from inside a ship.
Sorry, Dr. Ellie. Still though, don't you
To
find
nie
it
jest to
thrilling?
miejsce, gdzie ten gościu jest martwy?
Look, it's just
Yes.
Ellie.
Dobra, i co ja tu mam zarobić? Szukałem mieszkania pod kątem śladów. No przeszukałem. Okej. Lewa murawa, zakład bukmacherski, zbadać, dobrze.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial H Mammoths. I'd heard they'd gotten a new hacker. Is that why everyone's making such a fuss about you? But what are you doing on Monarch? Maybe we're not so isolated as I thought. So, what can I do for you? Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow, even if he did have terrible teeth. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with one of them. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies, but there's not much he can do.
Okej. Dobra, i gdzie to nas prowadzi tutaj? Ile tu jest questów na tej lokacji do zrobienia? Masakra jakaś. Ale każdy jest inny, więc tak szczerze mówiąc nawet się postarali tworząc tą gierkę. Nie tędy droga. Każdy quest jest inny, każdy quest jest czymś innym.
Hey, what are you doing here? This is our secret alley. Berta already pissed by those crates to market. Listen, that purple-toothed twerp had it coming. Not that anyone has proof. And not that it's any of your business.
Ile on ma HP? Reszta gdzie leży? No dobra. Uważajmy na oszczane skrzynki.
Nice thing about traveling with the captain. We meet all sorts of new people.
Sure. Best part is when they pay.
Aha, the helpful stranger I've heard so much about. Here to do business, hmm? Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna. Now, there's no need to humor me. I'm used to this particular letdown.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious. Yes, freedom is a tempting ideal, but a rather costly paramour.
Indeed. Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Ingenious plan? Don't get me wrong, I'm starting to admire your sand, but I bet you could overcomplicate a sisty sandwich.
What a charmingly roguish turn of phrase. Allow me to express my thanks at your competence and assure you that my plan is indeed sufficiently complicated.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended. With a Bolt 52 cartridge, of course. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance.
Never realized fighting the bureaucracy could be this interesting.
It is quite the rush. I'll need to gather some supplemental materials, but I mustn't get ahead of myself.
You do tend to do that.
The Bolt 52 will be in the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in. And these days, it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. So taciturn, so dour. I'll be waiting with bated breath. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Dobra, pogadamy sobie jeszcze z nim w następnym odcinku, a na teraz to tyle. Dzięki serdeczne za oglądanie, staw kciuka, subskrypcję, dzwoneczek, wbiję do linków w opisie i miłego popołudnia. Cześć!